Bethany Manctalo here. Welcome to our Millwall Fans Show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2025-26 season of Millwall No One Likes Us Talkin's, our Millwall Fans Show. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and I'm excited to be here with the fantastic No One Likes Us Talking team. Hello, Andy Pettman.
Hello, Eamonn.
Hello, Stan Godwin.
All right, Eamonn.
Yeah, and hello, Steve Warren.
Hello, Eamonn.
Hey.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
We return from another international break and hope to return to winning ways after 2 draws and a heavy defeat. We have a fast-paced guest who also played for the Republic of Ireland, and there are plenty of Millwall matters to discuss. For now, let's pause for a moment and hear about our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 813562. G&M Motors have been dear friends with the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, lions together.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan Godwin, Andy Pettman and Steve Warren. A big thank you to our sponsor, G&M Motors. Our first guest is a former Lion who played as a forward. During the 1989-90 season, he played non-league football at the now-defunct Leighton Wingate, then signed with Bromley. After a few pre-season games, we must have had lots of spies on the spot, we paid $34,500 for him. He made his debut on the 26th of December, scoring 37 goals in 127 appearances. His goals helped us finish third in Division 1 in 1993-4, but a semi-final defeat that is so memorable by Derby ended promotion hopes. Next season, he transferred to Wimbledon with Kenny Cunningham for a joint fee of $1.3 million, but an injury ended his career. He later moved into coaching, became a sports scientist, and is now head of recruitment at Watford Academy. We won't hold that against him. We're excited to welcome him. Say hello to Jon Goodman.
All right, John.
How you doing, guys?
Hi, John. Hi, John.
Good evening, everybody.
It's great to have you back again. You're a well-remembered former Lion with a great insight into the game. I think Stan was mesmerised the last time you were on with the information that you gave to us. The English Championship is a top second-tier football league, rivaling top-flight league.
Possibly.
Could be, yeah. In history, fan base and quality. Many consider it among the world's top 10, and since 2017, it's been the 6th richest league in Europe. Squad sizes have grown since Millwall's return to the second tier, mainly due to the higher financial rewards from our great benefactors, the Sky people. What are your thoughts on how this affects clubs, supporters and football?
Well, that's a big question, Eamonn.
Well, give us a brief overview.
Listen, from a playing perspective, I look back to when we was at Millwall and Mick McCarthy was a player at the time, I think. So Bruce would have been the manager.
Yeah.
The Sky was just forming, and there was a lot of debate about the players hadn't been consulted. The FA, I think, was breaking away. It's going to become the FA Premier League, and we was not really that, aware of how the future game was going to be, and there's a lot of uncertainty around it. You know, you have to say, in my view, that the game has evolved in so many areas in a really, really positive way. You know, whether it be stadiums, the quality of the games, the quality of the pitches, the quality of the academy programs now, and youth development and the awareness around that. So I think, listen, fundamentally, money drives everything, but lots of good stuff has come off the back of it. I think in terms of it has helped the national team. In terms of England, seem to have more high quality homegrown players now. So, which was one of the drivers they were suggesting around playing slightly less games and protecting, I guess, the workload of the players, and I guess that has been borne out in terms of recent successes or relative successes of the England team. You know, I work at Watford and I've worked at numerous championship clubs. I was involved with Millwall for a while. With Reading, I went up with Reading in 2005 to the Premier League. Got 106 points, I think, that season under Steve Coppell. So it is interesting that we have more and more staff, more and more knowledge, more and more money, as you say, in the game. But the age-old problems are still the same. Players still get injured. Players still lose form. Managers still get sacked, you know. So the fundamentals are the same. The packaging of it is phenomenal, I'd say.
A good overview of things as they stand. Thanks, John.
Hi, John. It's Steve here.
Steve, how you doing?
Good. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you. All good.
Just picking up on some of the things you were saying there, it's kind of intriguing to see how the style of players evolved over the past decade. Kind of teams are now using a range of formations to create more scoring chances, whilst also restricting their opponents. Some might even compare strategic substitutions to a game of chess. What are your thoughts on the advantages of these changes? And do you foresee any potential disadvantages to the way the game is played these days?
The beautiful game is not a new thing. You know, I would say, remember Swindon? We played Swindon before Mick embraced a diamond formation, which was like, a complete, everything was 4-4-2. Then suddenly, might be an Aussie Ardelis, and then Glenn Hoddle played a diamond at Swindon. And I remember the boys coming in at half-time baffled as to who was marking who and what the hell was going on the pitch. You know, but it was very much a possession-based game even then. So, you know, when I first joined Millwall, Bruce Rioch very quickly had implemented a more of a possession-based way of playing. Teddy was in the side at the time. Alex Ray had joined, and I was, I remember watching one of the first 2 or 3 pre-season games, the Scottish side we played, and I was blown away by the quality of the football that's being played. But what you had there was maybe more diversity. So some teams would be up and at you, and I moved from Millwall to Wimbledon, and Wimbledon was very much a very functional way of playing that put pressure on the opponents by our style of play and how we, try to seek advantages wherever we could on any area of the pitch, whether that be set pieces or, intimidating the referee or trying to intimidate the opposition or whatever else. So I love the ethos of the game now. I love how we develop players now, and younger and younger players are coming into the game, like Max Dowman at Arsenal. He's 15, 16. He's already made, European appearances, and I think he's involved in the England under-19 setup. So it seems it's a younger game because it's a more skillful game. There's a lack of diversity, and I think not every team can play the same way. I think lots of coaches want to, I worked with Russell Martin at MK Dons, and Russell has tried to adopt the same way of playing every club he's been at, with some success and then without success. And I think, sometimes you have to be respectful of what your team needs and what your club needs and what the fans expect. Most teams seem to gravitate towards one way of playing. It's going to be a brave coach or a brave club that comes along and says, hang on a minute, there's nothing wrong with putting the ball forwards a little bit more quickly. There's nothing wrong with, being direct or putting the ball in the box or playing two strikers up top or just doing something against the conventional norm, because it's too samey for me. And I think that then means, not many teams are actually getting an advantage. The better teams with the better players will generally win, and clubs are missing a trick. It's about winning, more than it is about possession.
I think from a fan's perspective, there's a lot in that. We see that, everybody lines up the same, as you say, and you kind of hope one day that they'll come up with something that really changes it or challenges it in a big way, so that we may get a few more teams that way. And you're always hidebound by the squad you've got. The better players get bought up by all the big teams to sit on the benches.
I think it's really hard because, there's not a sport like this, where the amount of discussion. I drove to work today and listening to Talk Sport and Simon Jordan and Jim White talking about the game and, whatever else. And, you drive home and it's Darren Bent and Andy Goldstein talking about football, and then you've got Sky Sports on, Sky Sports News, you've got Sky Sports, everything's football. And I'm not against that, because I think it's I love it, and it feeds into the industry. But it does mean that young coaches are trying to build a brand of their own and a perception of that they are innovative, forward-thinking, progressive, etc., etc. And I wasn't necessarily always a fan of Neil Warnock, but you look at someone like Neil Warnock, and he would go into a club and be almost like a firefighter, knew the necessary adjustments that were required to help a team either survive and avoid relegation or get them promotion. There's a lot in that. That's the art of management, is getting more out of your group of players than you'd think possible. But I also think if you're a young coach on that journey, you'd probably feel obligated to try and be a young version of Pep, which is a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Hi, John. Andy here. How you doing?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Cool. Many fans are concerned that players may be receiving improper training or might not be fit enough for the game, particularly when they join from the lower leagues. At Millwall, we value our talented squad, but injuries often disrupt us, forcing reliance on under-21 players. As some recover, others get injured, mainly calf, thigh strains, tears, and increasingly ACL injuries. Based on your experience, what are your views on the players' fitness levels and the effectiveness of training programs?
Well, that's a wonderful question, because I packed up with injury at 28. I did my ACL at 26 in a training ground incident. Good friends with Bobby Bowery. Bobby runs a really good college program called Valenti, and we were looking at one of his players. I came from non-league football where, as a kid, if I wasn't playing football, I was doing cross-country running. If I wasn't doing cross-country, I'd be playing rugby. If it wasn't rugby, it'd be basketball. If it wasn't basketball, we'd be at the local sports centre playing football. And then I joined Millwall, and I was pleasantly surprised that I felt I was fitter than these guys that were full-time professional footballers. So it gave me a wonderful platform. And Bobby said the same when he went firstly to Crystal Palace, and it took him into his career path. So I'm a big advocate of fitness. At times at Millwall, I'd have injuries and niggles because my body couldn't cope with the demands of the game. But we had very, very, very little support staff then. You had Pete Melville as a physio, and there was no strength and conditioning coaches. There was maybe a multi-gym we would use in pre-season, but that would be about it. But some players were pretty capable of playing 35, 40 games a season. We've got, as I said to you, a lot more knowledge, a lot more, insight into whether it be GPS information, the training loads of players, the weekly accumulation of what they're doing. But I think as well, they are right on the cusp of the height of their fitness. And it's a bit, they're very sensitive creatures, any of these athletes. And you're always on the verge of being fit enough and then flipping the other side of being obviously overcooked and breaking down with injury. I found playing in the Premier League a stretch too far for me initially, and every game it exhausted me. So it took me 2 days, 3 days to recover from a game. So if you're going Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, very quickly I was on my knees, and then you're at risk of injury. So I think, I wasn't blessed with enormous technique and technical ability. So I think some players that may be playing in the first team, they're playing beyond their capacity. They're playing beyond their physical and technical and emotional capacity. And at some point they're going to break down. Whereas some players were able, because maybe either physically had more capacity or technically they were a lot better. They had a little bit in reserve, and they could play a game, and it didn't affect them the same way. So I think there'll always be this injury risk that we're flirting with. The more experienced players become, the more able they are to look after their bodies, conserve themselves, get through games. I remember Teddy saying to me in the first few games, like, I was running around like this, and Ted's like, John, slow down and breathe, just breathe, you know. And this is in the middle of a game, and after 20 minutes I'm exhausted. It's like, just wait, you'll get your second breath. Teddy was never the hardest working, but he could conserve, and technically he was superior anyway. He could navigate his way through a game. I didn't have that level of experience. So I say, you know, definitely the younger players navigating through games and through heavy schedules is an art in itself, you know, and for all the data that we can provide, no one knows their body better than themselves, and no one knows the stresses that their bodies are under. So, but of course, you're always going to say, are you injured? No, I'm fit, Gaffer. I'm ready to go. And I've played games where maybe I wasn't particularly fit, but I didn't want to lose my place to any other player out there. So you're always, you know, maybe not 100% fitness, 70 to 80, 90% fitness, and you're hoping you can survive within the games. But the staffing levels now, not only in academies, but at first team level, I mean, it's amazing that the stuff we can produce, the reports we can produce, but the fundamentals are players still get injured. You know, they're just human, and they're going to break because they're going slightly beyond their physical and emotional and technical capabilities just too often.
Thanks, John. Really comprehensive answer. It's good.
Hello, John. Yeah, it's Stan here, mate. How you doing? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
You're talking about the modern game and one thing and another and the money and all that sort of stuff. And, I mean, on that issue of money, I mean, but not connected with football, but I was surprised. I mean, when just recently the umpire Dickie Bird died, didn't he? Now, yeah, I was asking him a question one day. He said, and when I got the answer, he said, I nearly fell off my seat. You know, he was a real cricket man. There was nothing he didn't know, and tradition and whatever. What he thought about, you know, these the different ways they play cricket now with the sponsorship and the different levels of it. He asked him what he thought of it, and he said, there's nothing wrong with it, he said. Because his view was that money would improve the game. Yeah, we won't ever forget your time at the Den. It was a period filled with high hopes for promotion. And Mick McCarthy's team was making headlines, and you were drawing more fans through the gates, and then there was a real sense that the good times were on the horizon again. We recently caught up with Jamie Morley, who shared about he moved to Watford, believing Mick McCarthy knew about it. We subsequently found out that Mick was unaware of it, and it wasn't until years later that he discovered Jamie had been led to think that Mick had approved the move. Apparently they'd fallen out over all that, and then they've since renewed their friendship. Many memories of that team eventually left. What are your memories of all that?
Speaking brutally honestly as a mercenary footballer, I was a little bit, why is Jamie gone and not me? You know, but Jamie had probably earned the move in terms of he'd scored a few more goals or was a little bit more ahead. And I know when it came to our transfer, myself and Kenny, Mick rang me up and was very clear that he was like, listen, John, you know, there's been a figure agreed with Wimbledon. You need to go and speak with them. So Mick was completely aware of it. The funny thing was that both myself and Kenny went to Sam Hammond's house. We couldn't agree terms. It wasn't a major uplift in our salaries or anything. I don't think Kenny was really keen on the move. I was keen to go to the Premier League, but a little bit uncertain that Wimbledon would have been the right team for me. So we sat in Sam's house, you know, with myself and Kenny. We didn't agree anything. We went back to training, went into training the next day. I said, listen, Mick, not really that mad on it. And Mick went nuts. He went, well, you got to go. We need the money. There is no negotiation to be had here. Got to go because the club have agreed to figures and that. But I guess on both myself and Kenny said we literally nothing changed. We just went back to Sam's house the following day and signed. So I remember, you know, when Jamie came to us, it was a part of a deal. Chris Armstrong went to Palace and Jamie came in, and Jamie, you know, he hit the ground running, man. He did brilliantly for a season or two. He showed me the way because a lot of pressure was on him. A Palace lad coming into Millwall and losing Chris Armstrong as well, you know. But he scored goals. He was a very good worker. You know, at the time I think we had himself, myself, John Byrne would have been at the club, and John was a very good player. I don't know if Malcolm Allen was still there at the club, but definitely I was looking back. I learned off of Teddy, I learned off of John McGinley, I learned off of Jamie Morley, I learned off of Malcolm Allen, I then learned off of Mick Harford at Wimbledon, learned off Dean Holsworth. You learn off everybody to try and improve yourself. But yeah, Jamie, it was an interesting move going to Watford. I didn't see it as a step up for him, but it was maybe a bit more money for him and a bit more kudos and status as a player. But Prize Mick was unaware of that, but if that's the truth of it, then that's the truth of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironical because shortly after you went, or as I say shortly, but then we had the thing later on again, didn't he, with Ben Thatcher, and it was interesting because read a thing about that where some fan somehow bumped into Reg Burr, right?
Yeah.
And he accused Reg Burr of turning his club into a feeder club for a club who no longer played in their own grounds because they was by that time at Palace. He said, and what's more, he said, 15 years ago they weren't even in the Football League. And
It's a very good point.
After that, he went, Burr.
That probably demonstrates the power of the Premier League, you know, in terms of, you're right, we'd play at Selhurst Park, we'd have a home game on a Tuesday night at 4,000 or 5,000 fans there. But also I remember Sam Hammam would come on the team bus with us and he'd say, Goody, it's Goody, baby. He says, who's the best player at Millwall at the moment? Who's the best player? Who am I going to get? And it'd be like, well, it's either Ben Thatcher or Andy Roberts. Okay, baby, I'm going to get one of them. And so in the end, we got Andy Roberts, we got Ben Thatcher, and we had Mark Kennedy came from Liverpool to Wimbledon. So you had myself, Kenny, you had 5 ex-Millwall players playing at Wimbledon, which, you know, I guess would never happen in this day and age, but showed possibly the strength of the potential of that Millwall group. You know, like Andy was an 18-year-old kid playing in that team, and he was such a good player, you know, such a good either centre-half or midfielder, good float between the two positions. Ben Thatcher was raw as hell, but a proper fullback, proper aggressive, real good athleticism and a good left foot on him. So, you know, and Mark was, I think, at one point the most expensive teenager in British football. So, you know, it's a big credit to Millwall as a football club to produce players of that type. But as you keep selling players, it's very hard to keep replacing with, you know, similar players, isn't it? So you eventually run out of players, and it hurt the club for a little while.
And I think a lot of that was down to the chairman, personally. All right, well, thanks a lot there, mate.
My pleasure.
John, I've absolutely been fascinated listening to you. You have great insight. Many of us will be at the Den next Thursday for They Wore the Blue and the Green event. When you line up alongside David Ford and Aidan O'Brien. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know them two guys. Obviously, I worked at Millwall under Kenny Jackett, and Fordy was the goalie at the time, and Aidan was a young lad making his way into the first team. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's going to be probably... Fordy's accent is a bit more pronounced Irish than my one, but
Aidan's isn't very pronounced Irish. He hasn't quite managed that.
There's a few. I still keep in touch with Kenny, so Kenny kind of makes up for it all.
Does he?
Yeah, he's a good guy, Kenny.
Whereabouts is he these days? You don't have to tell us his address.
He floats between England and Ireland. Lives in Dublin, back in Dublin. He does the RTE, I think the match of the day equivalent over there. So he's on the media quite a bit. He does the national team as well. But he comes over a fair bit to see his son, Billy. So yeah, he's godfather to my kids as well. So yeah, he pops by every so often. So wonderful. Yeah, he's so lucky to have a strong connection. I still Ben Thatcher speak to regularly. He's an agent now. Scott Fitzgerald, who's the academy manager at Millwall, got a great relationship with Scott. You know, he's doing a brilliant job at the club, and keeps you updated on how things are going there. So it really feels the club are in a, as an outsider working at a club like Watford, which with the greatest respect is, quite turbulent with the setup in terms of first team managers coming quite frequently to Millwall, where Scott seems, pretty embedded into a process of work that hopefully will bear fruit, Yeah,
he seems to be doing well, and he's been there for a good length of time now. He really has. Some of us here will look forward to seeing you next Thursday. We might encourage a couple of others. I look forward to that. Before you leave us, John, we do have Ted's Prediction League. Ted's not not with us, but he comes on occasionally and does this bit. And there's 3 matches, and we want your predictions for them. The first one, of course, is Portsmouth versus Millwall.
I wouldn't be allowed back to the den if I said anything other than a Millwall win, and I'm going to go with like a 1 Millwall 2.
Okay. How about Preston Blackburn?
Probably off the back of the international break, I'd go for the home team more than the away team, and Preston is stronger than Blackburn anyway. So, home win for Preston, 2-0.
Lovely. And last but not least, I think they're going to be battling these two. Leicester versus Stoke.
Yeah, I know Stoke have started the season well, but I think Leicester will connect and start clicking at some point. So I'm going for Leicester to win. Again, I'd probably go. I think I'd go with maybe a few more goals. 3-1. What do I win, Eamon, if I get them all right? Well, get to come back next week.
You could, but I mean, last year someone asked to go with Ted to Manzi's Pie and Mash in New York.
Oh, wow.
Well, he couldn't afford the fare, so they went to Tower Bridge instead. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad, was it? There's some variable options. You could be lucky and get a signed copy of Brian King's biography. That's quite nice to read. That's an interesting one. Let's be hopeful and you get one of the prizes. We really appreciate you joining us, John. We wish you and yours all the best.
Thank you very much, and to you guys.
And see you next Thursday. But for now, bye.
Cheers, Eamon. Bye-bye. Cheers, guys.
See you, John.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you guys. Thank
Bye,
you
John.
very much. Bye-bye.
What an interesting person, to say the least. We'll take a break and hear from Harvey Brown.
Hi, Harvey Brown here. I am proud of the Lions Food Hub, which is jointly owned by Kelly and Ellen Webster, and they have been supporting families within our community for Millwall match days. If you would like to donate to them, they have a matchday donation hub by the SE16 bar at Coldblow Lane, end of the ground, where they accept any food or money and toiletry donations. If you can help, any donations will be received with thanks.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay. With me I have the wonderful group of No One Likes Us Talking team, Stan Godwin, Steve Warren and Andy Pettman. The Food Hub is trying to pull, I suppose, Christmas hampers together, and they're looking for people to donate £30 a time to support those hampers. I think they're doing well, but if you can help, pop along and see them and see if you can support a hamper for someone that can't. Well, many people know that Ellis Barr had an operation to help her move around more easily. And yes, she's been getting better since mid-September, and it's wonderful to see her progress. The No One Likes Us Talking team, Millwall Lionesses, Millwall Romans and Pride, along with many of our listeners, are all cheering you on and sending their best wishes for your ongoing recovery. And here's Ellis.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Thanks as always, Ellis. Paul Odin brings us quite a bit of news on the Millwall Romans and Pride's update, and something about playing a team down in the Royal Borough of Greenwich as well. Let's hear what Paul's got to say.
Hi, it's Paul Loading at the Millwall Romans with an update for the last few weeks. Well, back on the 9th of November, the Romans team headed up to St George's Park, the FA England training ground. It was a really, really nice day out. The GFSN hosted the quarterfinals there this year. We obviously had a 12 o'clock kickoff against our nemesis, the Mersey Marauders from Liverpool. They are a very good side. We've played them a couple of times in the last 12 months, losing in the semi-final earlier on this year, last season in the semi-final of the GFSN Cup, and also losing on penalties in Lyon as well. So we were definitely up for the game. They are a very, very good side. They're well organised. They've obviously been playing together for a good couple of years. The game kicked off. We had some good possession, but just couldn't find the net. They do defend incredibly well. and it was they had a couple of good chances as well, to be fair to them, but went into half time at 0-0. Second half started, and again very similar to the finish of the first half. Both teams pushing. We definitely had the better chances, I would say, the more possession in their half, and we did manage to score a goal within the last 10 minutes. No flag from the linesman, nothing from the referee, apart from a few protests from the Mersey centre backs. The referee then went over to the linesman, who was an official linesman. They had a good chat for 3 or 4 minutes before they decided to cancel the goal due to an offside from Jay Lamonius, who didn't touch the ball but allegedly was interfering with play. We have seen the goal back and we are a little bit devastated. It does seem a very harsh decision. So the game finished after 90 minutes at 0-0. We went into penalties and we missed, I think, our second penalty and never recovered. And unfortunately, that puts them through to the semi-final of the GFSN Cup. In other news, good news for Pride. They're through to the next round of the London Unity League Cup as they faced East End Phoenix last Sunday. Very late kick-off there, 5:30, but they played very, very well and won 3-2. So congratulations to them. They're through to the next round of the London Unity League Cup. This weekend, the Romans team are travelling to South East London to play Charlton in the LUL League. Charlton, the team we're playing, is going to be the team that came up from the lower division from last year. We are playing them away. Romans are carrying a few injuries at the moment with a few strikers out, but it will always be a tough game against Charlton. That's at 3 p.m. at Greenwich University in Charlton. Also this weekend, the GFSN side, we've entered a GFSN Shield this year, headed up by Pete De La Russo. The team from Bristol are travelling down again to see us and play at St Paul's Sports Ground. There's a 12:45 kickoff on Sunday. Again, we played Bristol in the Cup a few weeks ago. We also travelled down to Bristol back in September to play the game. But it'll be a good, nice game. It's always nice to play other teams outside of London. And that's a 12:45 at St Paul's. Portsmouth Millwall, I'm going to say Millwall are just going to nick that 1-0. I reckon Preston Blackburn, Preston might take that 2-1. Leicester Stoke, I reckon Leicester will nick that as well, 2-1.
Well, thanks very much, Paul. Lots going on in all sorts of leagues, cups. They don't stop, do they? Our Millwall Lionesses hosted top of the table Saltdean United in league action last Sunday. Mill Community Trust Kai Bennett shares the story that he sent to Maritime Radio.
The money on Maritime Radio. So Millwall Lionesses hosted top of the table Saltdean United on Sunday afternoon. Kai Bennett was watching the action for us.
Millwall Lionesses kept their recent run of good form going with a 0-0 draw against league leaders Saltdean United. Saltdean, a fairly physical side, a little bit like Dartford, the Lionesses knew what to expect. The Lionesses stopped the ball from going into the back of the net, not one, not two, but 5 times in the opening first 30 minutes, with an incredible bit of defending from the defensive 4 and Victoria. The Lionesses, however, had chances at the other end. Mia Lockett hit the bar, and Kenita Throp's follow-up effort really well saved by the keeper. As the second half started and wore on, the Lionesses gained momentum in the match, and strikes from Kira Watlin, Lever Helt and Throp once again coming close. Ronnie Richards pulled off 2 brilliant blocks to keep the scores level, with the Lionesses so close to winning it in injury time as Kenita played the ball through to Kira Watlin, but she couldn't quite get on the end of Kenita's pass. Overall, a really solid point for Ted Jones's side, who make it 4 unbeaten in the league and 4 clean sheets in a row. Next up is a trip to Barking next Sunday, where they'll be looking to right the wrongs of a 2-1 defeat last time out against them.
Thanks, Kai. Despite it being a goalless draw, this was an impressive performance by the Millwall Lionesses, who continue their outstanding league form. The next game is Sunday at Barking FC. Kai will update us next week. Back to this morning, more music.
That was a significant point there, a good result. Can they keep that unbeaten run going on Sunday at Barking FC? Well, it's a 3 p.m. kickoff. There'll be a bit more about that further on in the programme. When Saturday arrived before the international break, we hosted Preston North End at the Den, following the humiliating defeat at Birmingham, our first and worst away defeat of the season. I'm going to ask you some questions that I just want some short responses to. So, Stan, I'll start with you. When you saw that game at Birmingham, what did you think about our performance?
Absolutely appalling. In every way, shape and form. You know, when we had a similar performance against Coventry, and then we know what happened with the first goal, and you told me your theory on it, and I didn't disagree because I didn't see the first goal, and then I asked, they agreed with it. But on the game against Birmingham, there was absolutely no excuse. You know, I mean, I think I was asked, and I said at the time how we were total garbage. I mean, that's how bad it was from my point of view. Now, hopefully, that was a one-off, and we won't have any more performances like that again.
Steve, do you reckon it as these effects that's at the back of all of this, while we haven't been as successful in the last 3 games?
Yeah, I think it really is. I think injuries have and continue to play havoc with the team, and I think, looking back, Femi's been our biggest miss. He's a right handful going forward, but he's got goals in him, and we're missing those goals. But I think also his presence in a team makes other teams are double marking him, or you've got sort of man marking him, and it's just opening spaces for the others. And I think him not being in the team, I think, is for us both defensively and attacking is a problem, because teams just can't come at us and leave him up there because he'll hurt them going forward.
Andy, what did you make of those fantastic goals in the Millwall-Preston game?
Yeah, it was a masterclass, wasn't it? Either side. Yeah, I mean, I thought we did enough to win that game, to be fair. But, those goals were appalling. Very happy when we scored our one. But, I did think we were the better team on the day, had more chances. And when you watch the highlights back of that game, you know, it was a lot better than I can remember it at the time.
Yeah, Oldie Mako was unlucky not to get on the score sheet there.
Yeah.
But that's football. When this Saturday comes, we travel to Pompey. Not Pompeii, but Pompey. That's Portsmouth, who last won 7 games ago, beating Borough at home by the odd goal. They have drawn 2 of their last 6 games and lost 4. Interestingly, they also lost 4-0 at Birmingham, just before we did. Despite our recent dip in form, we've won 3, drawn 2 and lost 1 in our last 6. Our injuries have mounted again. However, the likes of Bender, McNamara and Doughty may return. But do we have enough strength in depth to get back to winning ways? The bookies have Portsmouth at 7-4 to win, a draw at 2-1, and Millwall win also at 7-4. Extremely tight odds. Tight game. What do you reckon, team? Stan?
Well, I think we can win the game. It's going to be an hard game, no doubt about that. Funny enough, the Portsmouth supporters, I mean, they're as vociferous as we are. I mean, our record against Portsmouth at Portsmouth is not bad of recent years. And I don't see no reason why we can't carry that on. I mean, I think we'll win the game.
And how much do you think we'll win the game by?
I think I'll go, say, 2-1.
Steve?
I think we're going to nick it. I do hope he plays Bello on the left rather than knocking him over to the right, which he's done for the last couple of games. And I think defensively, unless Danny's back fully fit, then I hope he's going to be playing Kramer at right back. I think we'll probably nick it 1-0.
Let's be hopeful.
Yeah.
Be hopeful. Andy?
Yeah, my head's slightly worried about the defence with Jake Cooper being out as well.
Yes, there is that.
What's he going to do with the Kramer? Sort of keep him in the centre? Or not, bring in Grant. But, my heart thinks we're going to win it. So I've gone for a 2-0. Even though slightly concerned.
I'll tell you, don't be too concerned about that, because my prediction is we're going to win 3-0. So there you go. I hope that makes you all feel a lot better. And
if we lose 3-0, we won't be hearing from you for a little while.
Well, funnily enough, that's probably true, yeah. What are your predictions for our other 2 games? Stan, Preston versus Blackburn, first of all.
No, I think that'd be a 1-1 draw.
And then moving on from that, we've got Leicester versus Stoke.
Oh, I think Stoke will win that 2-0.
Right. Andy, What do you reckon?
Yeah, I've gone for a home win for Preston. Was it Lancashire derby? But yeah, Blackburn are awful, aren't they? So 2-1.
Well, you're giving them a goal. That ain't too bad. And how about the Leicester-Stoke game?
I've gone for a 1-1 draw for that. I mean, Leicester have got to win sometime, haven't they? And
allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
As they say. Steve?
Preston are going to win 2-0 against Blackburn.
Yeah.
And I think the Leicester-Stoke game is going to be a 1-1 draw.
Right. And I'll make you all feel better again about that one, because I've gone for Leicester consuming that 3-1. But the Preston-Blackburn game, I'm like-minded to Stan. I'm going to go 1-1 with that. That sees all of our predictions out of the way. But, well, that's ours. But we also have got Nick Wythe, who's kindly sent his predictions in from the Millwall Sicily site. So let's see what Nick has to say.
Hello, everyone. These are my predictions. Portsmouth 0, Millwall 3, Preston 2, Blackburn 0, and Leicester 1, Stoke 1. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm glad you agree with me about the Millwall game there, Nick. It's good to have some people that have optimism about their team, not like everyone else that we encounter. So that's great. And most of all, thanks to Dave Hart for collating the results and producing the table. With more energy than a Duracell batteries, our second guest and his team manage the most complex and rewarding responses that we can ever imagine in making a difference in the community. Hello once again, the Millwall Community Trust CEO, Sean Daly.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're well.
Yeah, congratulations and all, Sean.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you.
Good evening, Sean. Well done.
Good evening.
Hi, Sean. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, as you know, it's me here, Sean. We're so happy you could join us at short notice, because I didn't get to you till late. And I've got to say, that was absolutely whizzo on Wednesday night. Anyway, I'll pass you over to the panel.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. It's Steve here.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, mate. On Wednesday, you headed off to Lewisham for the Council Awards. Could you share what happened there? We believe it was something really quite special.
Yeah, so about a month ago, I received an email from the Mayor's office saying that I'd been nominated by the Mayor for the Lewisham Legacy Award, and would I be interested in accepting it? So, of course, a privileged award, award. I wanted to take it. So, and I wrote back and said yes, no problem. And so, but they said we'd like you to bring your family as well, because we think it's quite a nice evening. So, headed down there. It was a lovely evening, and what it was the council giving out awards to local businesses around the area, things like local pubs, local set-up businesses, markets, really people that are making a difference within the borough of Lewisham. And then I received a legacy award for my work within Lewisham. I was taken back for, really, because it's not really me that does it all, it's my staff that do it all. I just sort of like sit there and take all of applaudits for it. But no, I was quite thrilled. I was very honoured to even be recommended, but let alone to win the award. So no, it was a lovely evening and great for my family as well, because it's nice for my wife and my little boy to be there, and the Mayor talked very highly of myself and the trust. And I think back now, 6 years ago when I first arrived, we weren't even talking to Lewisham. We were going through bad times, and now to have a member of Millwall Football Club receive an award for the input and the social value we're giving the borough, I thought was excellent.
Sean, it's brilliant. We often, when we're talking, you do the things you do up at the Community Trust, and it's just brilliant, and it's so well deserved. And it's congratulations to both you and the team, but someone's got to lead it, and
No, thank you very much for that. I really, and it's people like yourselves that give us all the support and the profile. I'm not really into getting awards. I'd rather just get on with what we're doing. And I think, to see smile on people's faces and changing people's lives and giving them opportunities, that's more than anything. So I'm not really into that. But I was quite honoured to even be recommended, let alone to actually say the actual award's yours. So,
well done.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. It's Andy here. Hiya. We spoke earlier with Jon Goodman, and he's really excited about being involved in an evening with the Blue and Green next Thursday. Can you tell us what to expect and how we can join?
I'm very much about that. The club has a history. The club has players that have represented the club, and we'd like to invite them back because they leave and then you never see them again, but they're part of our history. So I try and put on these evenings where I like it myself as well because, I'm a Millwall fan. So to see these players and to get close to them and listen to the stories they've got, I think it's a great opportunity for the fans to come and hear that. So we've got Aidan O'Brien, Jon Goodman and David Ford. And it's going to be a couple of hours at the Den where they're just going to talk around what it was like playing in their times and, some of the funny stories they'll come up with. And everyone we've done has been well received by the fans. And it's just an opportunity for those players to come back and be sort of like get closer to the fans and just talk to them. And the fans to have an opportunity to chat to them personally. So we're looking forward to it. I want to put a couple more on before the end of the season. It's just finding the right people and getting the diaries correct. So I'm trying to do one in February at the theatre down in Catford with a couple of big names. So I'm trying to work on that at the moment. But it's always a great evening.
Sounds a really good night. How can people get tickets for it?
Yeah, so if you go onto the website or the club website, you buy them through Eventbrite. They're £10 for the evening. There'll be like a pie or something with them that you'll get as well for it. And it's just an opportunity to meet them, get your photos with them, get some autographs, and then we do an auction and we ask the players to bring something in that they would auction off, and all that money will go to the trust, which will use that money to offer opportunities for people. And Christmas coming up, we've got some activities that we want to fund during Christmas.
Cheers, Sean.
Thank you.
Sean, Stan here, mate. My grandson Regan and me will be down there on next Thursday, and I've heard about the new Millwall Coaching Academy pathway starting on December the 1st. Who is eligible to apply, and what does it involve?
One of the things that we sort of like at the Trust is we like to develop our own people, develop our own coaches. And we've changed a lot in the last 5 years. We try and make sure that we recruit from Lewisham and Southwark because that's where we do all our work. We have a lot of young people, from 16 upwards that would love to be footballers, but maybe not going to be footballers, but maybe want to go down a coaching pathway. But also that would give us more of a staff base. So we're setting up like a coaching pathway where young people from 16 to about 21 can come on, get their coaching badges. But most important about getting your coaching badges is the experience and actually having the opportunity to work with people that are in the industry. So those people that will come on that course, that pathway, they'll do their courses, they'll do their coaching badges, but then what they'll do is they'll be mentored by some of our current coaches. So they'll go to the schools, they'll go to the holiday camps, they'll go to our player development centres, and they'll actually see what it's like to be on the ground working with young people and then putting your coaching courses into practice. And what we're hoping to try and do is develop our new workforce through this programme.
Sounds interesting.
Well, it's a brilliant system, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, if you can, because you do it in-house, you develop the culture in those people that you espouse yourself. So that's an added benefit, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I talked, we have lots of people ring up and say they'd love to be a coach and join Millwall Community Trust and that. And they may have come from other clubs. But if you develop your own people, you mould them into how you want things done. Because they'll come with bad habits, we did it like this at Palace or we did it like this at Charlton. Well, you're at Millwall now and we do it like this. We are probably the front face of the club. Yeah. We're in more places than the club is. We're in 40-odd schools a week. We'll engage with 14,500 people in our programmes. So I'm very much about we wear the same kit as a club. We could be different, but no, we wear the same kit. But when people moan about Millwall staff, they're moaning actually about the trust staff, because that's the first people they see.
Yeah.
So we want to mould them into good people, and then they can see there's also a pathway where, if you look at all my staff now, all that staff has come through as part-time coaches.
Yeah.
I haven't gone out and got staff from other places. I've literally moulded and developed my staff to be the staff that all the way through it. So they see there could be a full-time job within the club and within the trust.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, well, perhaps I could use some of your methods of encouragement to get the team out for the Santa's Dash. I mean, Debbie and Stan have already signed up. Could you help motivate the rest of our team and perhaps some of the listeners too?
Yeah, Christmas is always a busy time for us. You know, lots of people shut down, but we try and do some initiatives during Christmas that will support the community. So we launched today two new programs for Christmas. One we do every year, donate a coat, where we ask people if they could donate any of their old coats to the trust. And we work with Crisis over Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, Crisis at Christmas, what they do is they will take on a couple of local schools in Harris in Bermondsey, Harris in Peckham, and they'll set up the sports halls and they'll put the homeless people in there over Christmas. And during that, they'll get their hair cut, they'll get some clothes, they'll get all different, but they'll have Christmas in a sheltered place. And we always try and help out. We try and send staff down there. I'll go down there for a couple of hours over Christmas and do some volunteering. We give them tickets to go to the game. But one of the big things for me is that once Christmas and New Year's finish, I'll go back onto the streets. And if I can get a load of coats and warm stuff for them, we can give that to them. So we launched Donate a Coat today. And, you know, the club will donate some, staff will do it. And we also, another one we launched today was a giving tree. Everybody knows that, you know, we work with low-income families. We put on the HAF project where we offer free hot meals for children during the school holidays. But what I want to try and do on this programme, because we're doing 5 days over Christmas, some of those children aren't going to get the presents that they deserve because they're kids. And their families can't afford it. So what we're asking people to do is, if we have a tree that we're going to set up, that's going to be set up over the weekend, if anyone could come in and just put something under the tree, we'll wrap it and make sure it goes to the right people that need it.
Right.
And for boys and girls presents. And then, of course, we do the Santa Dash. And Santa Dash is just an opportunity for some of the fans to get together, have a fun day, run to St Paul's, or if the weather's bad, it'll be round the AstroTurf at Alliance Centre, have a mince pie, a hot chocolate, and just talk to each other. It's just a little bit of fun. We've put it on for about 3 or 4 years now.
It's good.
It's just a great opportunity for people to get together and just dress up in a Santa's outfit and be stupid for a couple of hours and just run down to St Paul's and run back and then go on to the game.
That's it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it this year because I'll be in Vienna. But I'm sure the rest of them will turn up in their droves.
Well, Andy and Steve said they were coming, didn't they?
I think they did. Steve's definitely said he was coming earlier in the year.
Try, but the old knees are giving me a bit of chip at the minute. It might have to be round the community centre once.
Listen, anything. I just want everyone in Santa outfits. That's all I want. Everyone in Santa outfits.
So there you go, Steve. There's no excuse now. All right. And you, Andy. And Ted. We have to get on to Ted. He's been a bit weak on this. But there you go. We'll have to get to it. Before you go, we've got Ted's Prediction League. 3 big matches, and we'd love to hear your predictions. First up is Portsmouth versus Millwall.
2-0 to Millwall.
Followed by Preston versus Blackburn.
I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. I can't see much between those two.
Leicester versus Stoke.
They're both close to us, aren't they now?
Yeah.
Selfishly, I'm going to want a draw again. I'll go 1-1 a draw.
Okay, that's good.
So we'll be the only winners that weekend.
You've got to be, yeah. As long as we're winning, you know what it's like. We only win when we're winning, yeah. That's great predictions. Well, you're definitely a winner already this week, so what are you worrying about? Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you ahead of the Santa Dash All the best to you, your family, and the magnificent Millwall Community Trust team.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for all your support.
Yeah, good luck, Sean. Cheers.
Good night.
Cool. Cheers.
Bye.
Good night, Sean.
Great man, great stuff, and he don't stop. Anyway, let's hear from Bethany Mantelo.
The Millwall Community Trust is located at the Lions Centre, Ballina Road, London SE16. Each year it delivers a wide range of football and sports development programmes to thousands of young people from toddler soccer to professional pathway across different ages, genders and abilities. Check out the Millwall Community Trust website.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan Godwin, Steve Warren and Andy Pettman. We're all looking forward to the next game, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
The Millwall Community Trust hosts an evening called They Wore the Blue and Green on Thursday the 27th of November at the Dens Aries Bar. Attendees will hear from Millwall and Irish icons David Ford, Aidan O'Brien and Jon Goodman. Hear the untold stories and meet former Lions in a casual setting. Tickets are £10 for all ages and the proceeds will go to the MCT. The event runs from 7pm till 10pm. Limited spaces are available, so book now on Eventbrite by searching Millwall Community Trust.
Next Friday, Ted Robinson will host Dave Hart, George Lampy and me, along with a guest or two, on our Millwall Fans Show. Also, don't forget about Santa's Dash on December the 11th, before our whole game. Tickets to join in are available on Eventbrite. Search for the Millwall Community Trust Santa Dash. We'd love to see you there, along with a few of us.
The Millwall Lionesses are away to Barking Women at Barking FC at Maysbrook Park, Lodge Avenue, Dagenham, RM8 2JR for a 3pm kick-off on Sunday. If you are able to join us, our Lionesses, be genuinely grateful for your outstanding support. Both teams will be eager to advance their league status, and with the backing of a partisan crowd, the Lionesses game will be played with both passion and pride. Go on, get along, sing a song and roar our Lionesses on to victory.
Don't forget to tune in to the No One Likes Us Talking team as they deliver reports from our games home and away from the Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride. You'll also get updates on Millwall community topics through Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM or on their website, and shortly to be available on DAB. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Spreaker and all major podcast platforms. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Eamon.
Thank you, Stan.
Thanks, Eamon.
And thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Eamon.
And a big thank you to you all for tuning in. Tonight we play our Las Vegas version of Let 'Em Come, created by our talented panellist Andy Pettman. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there.
Team of all, everybody knows us, we're called Millwall. Let 'em come, let 'em come, let 'em come, let 'em all come down to the den. Let 'em all come down to the den.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.